Do this side first.
Yeah.
As fast as you can go.
As
Good.
fast as I can.
Now with the other
Cheryl
side.
Silvis was diagnosed with Huntington's disease 6 years ago.
My dad died of Huntington's disease, so I knew it was in the family. But I had a biking accident when my husband and I were on vacation. Broke a leg, ankle, and that had never happened to me in my life. So I knew something was wrong.
There's enough hints prior to her actual diagnosis that people knew it was on the horizon. I mean, even years before that, because she was at risk. Anytime she stumbled or fell, she was worried. I'd wonder why she's in a black depression for 3 days, and I go, "Did you fall recently?" "Yes, stumbled." Yeah, okay, margarine. It's not spelled with an E.
Your mind changes too in many ways, so the stuff I can't do. Well, when I was working, I was CPA, so numbers were my thing. I can't write a check now, so it's my husband sort of does all that.
It's hard to see your spouse fade away. It's very lonely. We have some tapes of old tapes of home videos 5-10 years ago. The contrast is terrible. You realize how much has gone away, and you don't notice it day to day. It's just life as it moves forward. But I can't watch him anymore.
This is one of the worst diseases you can imagine, because over the period of 15 to 20 years, you gradually lose your ability to control your movements. You develop psychiatric problems, you lose cognitive ability, and there's nothing at present that you can do to stop it.
Hey, Mel. Breakfast ready, sweetie.
She's alive. She's awake.
Cheryl's daughter Melanie is 15. Son Georgie is 11.
I don't know, I guess for me, it's just really hard to watch, because your parents should be looking after you and stuff. And really, I'm spending more time looking after my mom. It's always like, oh, watch out, be careful with her. And I don't know, it's hard to have to take care of your parents and watch them kind of regress as you get older.
Jordan, do me a favor, give me a second napkin. I spilled syrup on myself already, thank you.
Georgie and Melanie each have a 50% chance of getting the disease when they're older.
Oh, really?
They can take a test to find out if they have the Huntington's gene when they're 18.
I don't know. I haven't really thought about getting tested. I mean, I guess at this point I'm just thinking about her and not really thinking about if I have it or not, so I just don't know.
I think the prospect for children of HD families is actually more optimistic. I think that for many of them, the time that they'd have to worry about developing their symptoms might be 20 years in the future. And we will certainly have treatments by that time that are effective. I don't know if we'll have a cure by then, but if we can have a treatment that would slow the progression or delay the onset, that might be, for many cases, essentially a cure.
But for Cheryl, a treatment or cure will probably come too late.
My goal is to be here for my son's graduation from high school. I think I'll make that.
10 years ago, at the age of 42, Bill Rosendale was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. His daughter was 9 at the time.
And at first I didn't quite understand because I was so young when I first found out. But after a while, I started seeing more and more, and my dad getting a little bit worse with the tremors and things like that. And it was really hard to accept at first.
It's one thing to tell, the kids that their father is sick, but then to have to tell them that there's no cure for it at the same time, because that would be the first thing that they would ask. Would Daddy get better? And we couldn't tell them that.
Hi, good morning, guys.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
You're not having a very good morning, are you?
No. In fact, I think I'm going to need some help getting dressed this
Okay.
morning. It's fine. The worst part about it is waking up in the morning, actually having to physically will yourself to move your legs, and you strain and you try. I mean, you have to think about every step that you take. It's a lot of work. It's like being trapped in your body, basically. Thanks. Okay. Your body's become a prison that you can't get out of.
Some days are worse than other days. There are a lot of things that he no longer can do. And he does a lot of hobbies, and sometimes that's very difficult for him to do.
Try.
I think it's just what the hardest part is what it has done to him, not what it has done to us, because we're fine.
But yeah, that is definitely the hardest thing because, we've learned to pull together and make it through, but it's hard watching him get worse.
Nope. It takes a while, like I said. I don't really think it's affected me so much as my other members of my family. I see them more concerned about me, but I see it from the other side of the coin, and I see the way it's affected them.
To control his tremors, Bill takes many different medications. And for short periods during the day, his movements appear almost normal.
We've made a lot of adjustments in the medications. We keep making adjustments, and we try to keep them as balanced as we can. So I think considering that he's had Parkinson's for as long as he has, he's doing reasonably well. But as time goes on, it will get more and more difficult to keep him in balance.
Bill is a medical technologist and has continued working throughout his illness.
There we go.
But dyskinesia, involuntary movements, which are a frequent side effect of his medications, is making his job increasingly difficult.
I'm maybe reaching the point where my performance at work is going to be insufficient for me, for my standards, and I don't really want to be a burden at work and have people do my work for me. So I may be reaching the point at which it might be time to retire.
Although Bill and his family cope with this disease with remarkable strength, it is not the life he would choose for himself.
I'm hopeful that within maybe the next 5 or 10 years that I'll be able to live a normal life like everyone else and be able to get up in the morning and walk down that hallway without having to worry about shuffling or falling or whatever. And that's all I would like, is just to lead a normal life like everybody else.
I think one important thing to remember about Parkinson's is that it is so slowly progressive that if you could just cut the rate of progression by 20 or 30%, you would add years to people's useful lifetime. So we don't really need to stop it in its tracks, although that would be wonderful. We just need to take the edge off. We just need to slow it down a little bit, and we will really buy a lot of very important time.
It's okay.
Yeah, I know.
You're doing good.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I will.
I had trouble walking.